We are gold and blue, born in 1872, the greatest team in the world. We are known as we follow on. We are the people through and through, the gold and blue since.
Hello, fellow Bears. Good afternoon. I hope everyone is having a delightful start to your week. It's Monday, my least favourite day, but we will troop on. Welcome to Bold and Blue 1872 for another video. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so far. As always, appreciate the support, the likes, subscribes. If you could give this video a like and subscribe, it really helps get my videos to reach more people. So much appreciated for all the support so far. It's the Hibbs game a couple of days ago now, so I've had a chance to reflect on it. I've had a good chance to listen to what a lot of other prominent podders and media have been saying about the game. I do want to have a chat about the game itself and give my thoughts on it, but I also want to cover Russell Martin and his shall we say behaviour before the match and during the match and at the presser, and then, as you probably can see from the title of the video, I'd really like to talk about Mr. Nico Raskin and all the shenanigans and fiasco that's surrounded him over the last few weeks. Well, let's start with the Hibbs game. This is so challenging, right? Because it's one game, isn't it? But let me go through the game, right? So we started off pretty well, in my opinion. We're nothing exceptional. We look a bit nervous, understandably so, considering what's going on around the stadium, in the stadium. But I think that we're definitely the more comfortable. We're passing it around, not really creating much. Kind of first 10 minutes. But we certainly look comfortable. And then the Union Bears throw the plastic balls onto the pitch, and I don't know what the point of that was. I suppose it was to stop the game, to draw attention to the banner. Was it really needed? I don't know. It seemed. It's not as if there's not enough press going on around what's happening, and there was plenty of coverage about it. I don't think that it needed to happen, and I was a bit frustrated when it happened as well, because I thought just after that, having been quite comfortable for the first 10 minutes, we looked really nervous, really nervous, and it quickly resulted in. Bowie, he's through on goal. That's around about the kind of 15th minute. Should score himself, but he passes it back to Boyle. Boyle should score. Boyle puts it just past the post, so we get off with that one there. And then a few minutes later, lo and behold, the usual happens. Over the top ball, we've got the high line. Cornelius can't keep up with Boyle. Boyle's through on goal and smashes it in the back of the net. And then VAR pulls it back for a handball. I don't think that Boyle needed to handball that. I think he could have actually just taken it down himself, and he would have been in the clear just as well as he was by using his hand. I never even noticed the hand until I seen it back on VAR, and there was no complaints from Boyle. So, I mean, it was a clear handball, and he definitely got advantage from it. So there's the decision was the right decision, but we got off with one there because, like I said, Boyle could have easily just taken that down on his left foot, or even shoulder. But he could have been easily through on goal, and it's just it's a reoccurrence of this same problem that we keep seeing. These over the top balls, just almost kind of route one, just straight down the pipe, and we've got no answers for it. Even though we've got big Soapy and big Cornelius, they're not small men. Do you know what I mean? And they just don't seem to be able to cope with this. And I cast my mind back to a video that the review did, where they spoke to a lad from one of the supporters from Marseille, and they spoke about Cornelius. And one of the things they mentioned was exactly this, that he's pretty slow, and if you're playing him in a high line like that, he can get caught out, and that's exactly what happened. But ultimately, we got away with it, right? A few minutes later, it's not a lot happening, and then it takes us up until the 40th minute. Good corner comes in from Tav. Raskin, honestly, how Raskin is able to head the ball like this. He's probably the smallest man in the team, but he seems to be the best headerer of the ball. But yeah, Tav whips the ball in, and Raskin comes across and sticks the noggin on it, and it's a lovely goal. Actually, it reminds me. I don't want to take the credit away from Martin here, but it definitely looked like one of Billy Dodd's book, and it was almost a carbon copy of a goal that we scored under Barry Ferguson last season, and it was accredited to Billy Dodd's set piece training that he'd been doing with the team, and it was it looked exactly the same. So did the players take it upon themselves to utilize the learnings they took from Dodds there? I mean, maybe they're supposed to do that, and maybe I'm being harsh to Martin, but it definitely looked like one out of the Billy Dodds book. Then we're down the other end of the pitch. Boyle, he gets through, misses an absolute sitter, in my opinion. I mean, the ball comes across, he's right in front of goal. There's no one near him. Sticks the head on it, puts it wide of the post. So, at this point in the game, so we're kind of 40 minutes into the game, we could easily have been 3-1 down, easily. So it's not a good half. We end up finishing the half. Raskin, who I'll talk about in more detail, because he was all over the place in terms of trying to make things happen, and really took a hold of the game. But he comes up the right wing, puts the ball into Moore. Moore kind of takes I'm not sure if it's a pass or a shot, but he's been credited with it being a pass, lays it on to Miovski as a result, and Miovski puts it in the back of the net, and we go in at the break 2-0, 2-0 to the better. But again, that first half could have been so different. And the scary thing is, for me, that in that first half, I don't even think that Hibbs really took advantage of our weakness. I mentioned in my prior video, any manager worth their salt should be able to set up against us right now, because that if you're pressing us, we don't seem to have an answer for it. And Hibbs did it at times, but didn't do it very often. But they still could have easily been a couple of goals better off in the first half. So, in my honest opinion, the first half, even though we come in 2-0 up, not a good half. Not a good half at all. But I think the 2-0 kind of killed the game in terms of Hibbs in the second half. Didn't really have much to offer. We had quite a few chances in the second half, actually. That we played some nice football at times. Gassama, he comes in from the left, turns it over onto his right foot from outside the box, has a cracking shot, comes off the bar. Miovski has a chance as well. Ant-Man towards the end of the game does a little melee of a run past a few players, almost kind of, dare I say it, Laudrup-esque. He could have finished that better. He put it just past the post. There's a few there as well. Like the Grant Hanley had a couple of really good clearances as well. Like he cleared one off the line, and that was the keeper had a nightmare with his defender passing it back to him, and Gassama grabs it, lays it off to Miovski, and Miovski should score, but Hanley clears it off the line. So second half, actually, we played some good stuff, but was it enough? Did I come away from the game feeling that it was a good performance? Ultimately, I wanted the win, like everyone does, and a win is a win. And there was some good signs of some good football in there, but still some really big concerns. I just feel that we got away with it in the first half, and then killed the game with the 2 goals before the second half, and there wasn't much to offer. One thing I did notice is we playing out from the back, we certainly seem to deal with playing against the press, if that makes sense. Coming out from the back, we looked a lot more comfortable. Is that because of the balance with Cornelius there playing alongside Soapy? I'm not sure. I think a lot of it was probably more down to Hibbs, like I said earlier, not pressing as much as I expected they would. But I think we certainly looked a lot more comfortable, and I'd mentioned this to a friend of mine around about the 70th minute. I felt a lot more comfortable with the defence, and lo and behold, around about that point in time, we start passing it around the back again, and Butland looks shaky as hell, and we need to figure that out. We really need to figure it out. I know this is Martin wants to play out from the back like that, but honestly, Butland looks like he's shitting his pants every time that ball comes back to him when there's anyone near him, and maybe rightly so, because he's never been known to be that kind of goalkeeper. So yeah, we won, and credit where it's due. You have to. We've been saying that Martin needs to win games, and he won a game, and now we're 2 games away from potentially having a cup and a possession. So it just had some glaring holes in it that I think some other teams will just capitalise. And was it progress? I think it's safe to say it was a better performance than what we've been served in recent weeks. But there's, like I said, there's just still some massive gaps there, and I'm not overly confident that it's the beginning of a run of wins that Martin probably needs. So we'll see. I mean, we've got the game against Genk coming up later on this week. There's a real opportunity there to take advantage of a team that are less than impressive right now. I mean, they're sitting third from the bottom of a 16-team league over in Belgium. They've taken 8 points from 8 matches, so they're having almost as much of a stinker of a season as we're having. So can we take advantage of that? We should be beating Genk. I don't think that I don't think that they have a great deal of quality in their team, and like I said, the start to their season has been very poor. So we should be beating them, but the start to their season hasn't been great either. So if he can win that game and then get some wins like Livy, then I might be a bit more optimistic. But as of right now, a win's a win. It was a needed win, but I'm still not convinced. So what I did take away from it though is was interesting watching Martin during the game. I want to call out a couple of things that I found a bit odd. He came out 5 minutes before the match started to the dugout, and I wonder if that was him attempting to maybe detract boos and the crowd from when the team came out to the pitch, which wouldn't happen. I actually think it took a bit of balls for him to do that, because he comes out 5 minutes before the game on his own. Maybe he thought that the guys that were protesting outside the stadium might not be there, and it was a better time to come out. I don't know why. It just was a bit odd, you know. Looking around that stadium as well at the start of the match, I was the final report from that I seen on Premier Sports was that it was 34,500. Didn't look like that. Certainly, 5 minutes before the match, didn't look like that. And there was a hell of a lot of empty seats there. But even if it was 34,000, you know, that's a few $100,000 that we're losing every game if that kind of attendance for like cup games is to continue. So that wasn't very positive. But yeah, Martin comes out 5 minutes before the game, and then when Raskin scores, Martin there's nothing. He's just standing there with his hands in his pocket. He's not celebrating. And this is initially when the goal goes in. Now, is there a chance that he was waiting to make sure that there was no possibility that there was a VAR call or it was going to be chopped off? Quite possible, but I just found it really odd that he was just standing there with his hands in his pocket. A man under so much pressure. You'd think a goal going in that he would be going ballistic, you know, but there was nothing. And then about 5 seconds later, you see him. I think it was almost as if the crowd reacted to the goal, and then there was a second reaction. So there was a celebration for the goal, and then there was an even larger celebration on the realization that it was Nico Raskin that had scored the goal. And it was almost as if Martin didn't react and then reacted to the second reaction. It was weird. And maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know, but it was just weird. I thought it was worth calling out, and I think it's worth calling out more so because of it happened when it was Raskin that scored, and I'll get on to that in a bit more detail in a moment. But so fast forward to the end of the game, Martin comes out to the presser. Is that one of the shortest pressers that we've ever had, post-match pressers? I think it was about 5-6 minutes. I don't recall post-match pressers being that short before. Even in some of our worst days, like post-match pressers are typically a bit longer than that. So again, am I overthinking it? I don't know what that means, but it was a very short post-match presser. And I just like I can't ignore this. Like, I don't want to take away from the fact that I don't want to harp on about Martin, right? Because he's got to win. That's what we were asking for. And I know there's a lot of ill feeling towards Martin, and I don't want to compound it, but I just feel that there's so much contempt from the guy every time he's in these pressers now. A lot of people would say it's arrogance. I'm not sure. He just does not seem to be reacting very well to the questions and the criticism, and you know, he's saying that that's the way that he wants to see the team play, and there's some stuff they can work on. You're damn right, there's some stuff they can work on, because like I said earlier on, we could have been easily beaten on another day. Hibbs win that game. So if that's him being happy with the performance, then you know, maybe it's nerves talking and it's relief that he gets the win. I don't know, but I just found him to be very smug almost. And then at the end of the conference, he made some comments about Raskin as well. I want to talk about Raskin separately, but at the end of the conference, a lot of people will remember when PC was getting a lot of stick, and he was facing some tough questions from the fan media as well, and he was, I think he was accused of similar to what Martin was asked last week about something along the lines of him not being, the players not looking like they're coached well. And at the time, PC, when he was asked that question, obviously wasn't happy about it. But his next game, we went out and we beat Stoya 4-0, I think it was, right? And he comes in and he makes a bit of a joke of it, does that look like they've been coached? And everyone laughs, and that's not what happened with Martin on Saturday. He waits right to the end of the presser, and just as he's standing up to walk away, it was almost like a sly dig, and then just tried to run away. But another question was asked just as he was leaving his seat, and I didn't hear anyone in that press room laughing or joking. It just came across very differently, and I don't know. I know Martin is, I suppose, somewhat inexperienced. He's certainly a young manager. I mean, he has managed about 250 odd games now, so I don't know if he can get away with being. I don't know if anyone can get away with saying that he's inexperienced, but he's certainly a young manager. Was he 38, 39? 39, I think. Is the way he's acting, is it just that inexperience or that immaturity? I don't know, but this is just from my perspective. He's not endearing himself to me in any way, shape, or form. I'm finding it really hard to like the man. And again, I don't want to kind of sway people's opinion. Martin's job is to win games. That's the bottom line. He's not doing that. It might help the fans' opinion of him, on top of the fact that he's not winning games until Saturday. It might help if he came across a bit better to the fans, in my opinion, because I don't know. I mean, stick some comments down in the comments section. Let me know how you feel. Am I reading too much into it? I don't know. But I'm just finding it very hard to like the man. It's nothing to do with his floppy hair or his politics or his religion or his shoes. It's his demeanour. I just, there's something not clicking there for me personally. Right, so let's talk about Raskin. I've titled this video Raskin, the People's Captain, because I believe Raskin is my captain. I thought that was an outstanding performance from Raskin at the weekend, with all the shenanigans that's going on. Raskin at every point of that game, he was he was busting his arse. He was trying to grab a hold of the game, trying to make things happen. If Raskin's not playing at the weekend there, do we win that game? There was a couple other players, Megama and Miovsky, I thought were really good. But not many others. Sean, I do, I'm talking about Raskin, but I do want to talk about Moore as well. How that boy's getting a game. I know he's a young lad and all this stuff, but see if there is. I've heard people saying there's potentially a clause in his contract that means that he has to get game time. See if that's the case. Felwell has a lot to answer for, because no one should be getting guaranteed game time to play for this club. You play for this club on merit. You do not just get game time because some other clubs tagged you a wonder kid. I hope that's not the case. But if it is the case, it's ridiculous, and Felwell would have been the one that was responsible for putting that agreement in place. So, yeah, I've covered him in detail. So if that's another question mark to add to the list, then so be it. But I hope that's not the case. But Moore is just not good enough. He's not ready, not good enough. We've got our own younger players that are better than him, in my opinion, and should be starting ahead of him. So anyway, I digress. Back to Raskin. So Raskin, for me, you know, I've heard people saying that he kind of had Martin eating humble pie. I think there's also a lot of rumours that now it's becoming a bit more clear that the fallout between Raskin and Martin was purely because of Raskin just disagreeing with Martin's approach. I don't know if this is true. I've not got any contact with Raskin or Martin, so who knows? But there is some talk that the performances in the Panathinaikos game, and I believe whatever game it was we played after that, the away tie with Panathinaikos, that Raskin was really unhappy with how he was being used, and he was being vocal about it. I believe that's quite possibly the case based on what we've heard from Barry Ferguson and Neil McCann, who probably shouldn't be saying things about what happened when they were managing players, especially when they're still at the club. But they've been quite clear that Raskin was just, he would question things, but he was still a good professional, but he would challenge you on stuff. And if that's what's resulted in this fiasco with Martin, then there's some serious question marks on Martin there, not Raskin, because if you watched those games, Panathinaikos, and I know we got through the tie, but we really shouldn't have, and a lot of it was to do with the way that Raskin was being used, I believe. So I think he probably would have been quite right to be questioning why that was, and then we hear Martin in the post match presser saying, he's given Raskin a bit more freedom, and he used like Diamande differently to try and free up Raskin so that he could have that freedom. And I'm like, it was only a few weeks ago that you were saying you wanted to rein Raskin back, and Raskin does too much, and now it seems as if you've flipped that, which is good, but I'm not sure what it says about Martin, the manager. But yeah, Raskin for me, just what a player, and for what's been going on over the past few weeks to have happened is just further compounded and further shined a light on where Martin's desperately went wrong here. So I genuinely think that Raskin is my captain. I think that he should be the club captain. I think that if he's challenging Martin, then that should be something that is accepted by Martin. As long as he's doing it professionally, then I don't see anything wrong with it. So yeah, Martin, the people's captain, is what I'm calling him moving forward. Sorry, Raskin, the people's captain, is what I'm calling him moving forward. I was really, and again, maybe I'm reading too much into this. I thought when Martin was being asked about Raskin, I thought it was quite telling. Raskin's interviewed after the game. So, Raskin comes off. He gets substituted around about, I think it's the 84th minute, something like that. Raskin comes off, and you can see there's an embrace between him and Martin. It looks pretty forced, to be honest. Raskin, after the game, he's asked, can he elaborate on what's happened? He's very reluctant to say anything. You can tell he wants to. I think that he'd like to get it off his chest. That's the kind of impression that I got. but he's professional and he just says he wants to move on. And you know, that's all you can. That's what a good professional should do. Martin, when he's asked about Raskin's performance, and again, maybe I'm looking too much into this. Sorry to keep repeating myself, but Martin, to me, he can't give credit to Raskin in isolation. He says that Raskin was fantastic, but he caveats it with, you know, but Dio was great, and Dio wasn't great, by the way. Or, you know, he references that they decided to give him the freedom. And you know, I just, again, I just call Raskin out for what it was, Martin. It was a fantastic solo display, and Raskin probably is the reason that we got that result on Saturday. So yeah, where do we go from here? Let's see what the results are moving forward. I've got a funny feeling, you know, we weren't wrong. We weren't wrong with Hadji when we knew there was something up there with Beale. Very different reasons, but we knew there was something going on there. Why he was shipped out on loan, and why he wasn't playing. We knew, and I'm not an advocate of Cantwell, by the way, before anybody has a go, but we knew there was something going on with Cantwell and PC. It was so obvious, like that, you know, and that their relationship was less than yeah, they certainly did not go on very well by the looks of it, and it was very evident. And then Cantwell ends up getting shipped off for pennies, basically. Love him or loathe him. I kind of liked Cantwell, but he certainly didn't do anywhere near enough. But to ship him out for a couple of £100,000, you know, we were right that there was something going on there. And I think that my gut is that we've not seen the last of this Raskin and Martin debacle. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Raskin is in the team every week, because I think he's the best player in Scotland by a mile, by a country mile. He's certainly the best player at Rangers. So maybe some of the new boys will prove me wrong on that in the coming weeks and months. But as of right now, Raskin is night and day above anything else we've got in that team. So he needs to play, and Martin needs to figure this out. But I've got a funny feeling that might not be the case, and we might not have heard the last of this. So hopefully I'm wrong. But either way, we move on to Genk. I'll be back later on in the week to give a reaction to Genk. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Again, can't stress enough how much I appreciate all the support and the likes and subscribes and the sharing that I've been getting. I'll mention again, this is a hobby for me, but if someone can get some value out of listening to my boring, bald-headed voice, then all the best for it. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe, please. And I will see you on the next video.
We are gold and blue, born in 1872, the greatest team in the world. We are known as we follow on. We are the people through and through, the gold and blue since 1872. With our hearts on fire, we rise.